How do you trick your brain and body into calming down the nervous system so that you can relax more, get better sleep, have less stress in your life? Especially for critical thinkers. I'm Dr. Blythe Holly Cleverly. I'm going to give you 5 more tips now for calming down the nervous system. I did an earlier video where I gave you the first 5. Here are the next batch. The first one I'm going to begin with is destimulation. We can be very overstimulated in our society. There's all kinds of things that are being thrown at us. We've got our phones with us all the time. We've got the blue light. We've got the lights in different offices and stores. We've got a bombardment of sound. There's just so many things. And then if we're critical thinkers, we've got all the tabs open in our minds, don't we? Too many of them open and firing at one time. We need to stop that. So there's ways in which we can do that. We can block out a lot of the noise, filter out a lot of the light. We can decide that we're only doing one task at a time. This is really important, especially if you have or think you have ADD. To be able to calm down the nervous system, we need to get control of the mind and of the body. So very easy hijacks. Make sure that you close down all your senses so that you're not overstimulated anymore, if that's what the issue is. The next one is in alignment with that, and that is going into nature. So go into nature, a lovely place to destimulate, to be able to have that peace. And in nature, even though there are a lot of things happening around you with smells and sounds, they are calming to the nervous system. We balance ourselves out when we are on the earth, when we are in nature, examining nature, around animals. That's another issue, right? With the animals, being able to play with them, to hear their sound, if cats purring, to have the cuddles of a dog. Amazing. Like, these are natural wonders that can help us in our body and in our mind. Very easy to apply. And the next one that we're going to talk about is visualizing. So in visualizing, whether we see it with our eyes or whether we see it in our mind, it's still the occipital lobe that's actually creating visual pictures, even if we've never seen those pictures before. Our brain is so amazing. We can visualize the scariest things possible, and oftentimes we do. And for those of us who are deep thinkers, we will imagine the worst case scenario ever there was, right? We call that catastrophizing. We don't need to do that. What we can do is we can think of something, a better daydream, right? We can think of something. If it's not true, that's okay. We're in a peaceful place. We're having a beautiful time. And our mind responds to that. Just the same way as if we're in a movie theater and we're watching somebody come at us with a knife and our body responds to that. Well, if we have beautiful thoughts, calming thoughts, don't you think that our body responds to that as well? So it's a way of calming down the nervous system and tricking our brain and our body to relax by giving it a visual, whether we're seeing it out front in nature or whether we're imagining it, right? That is going to help us to calm ourselves down. The next one that we're going to be talking about is something that is called havening. So havening is a technique that is becoming much more known. And I learned about it through the Amen Clinics, which is brilliant brain clinics in the United States. And originally, havening used to be called amygdala repotentiation because it actually put your brain into activating more of the delta waves. And it's a process. You can look at some different YouTube videos about it, or maybe one day I'll make one, but it's basically, it's touch, but it's the way that you touch. And you can imagine that this is what you would have done to a child when you're trying to get the child to calm down, go to sleep. But it's also kind of like this, right? Where you touch your arms and it's a downward process and it really does change the brain waves and calm you down. It's amazing. Now, the fifth one that you can apply is, well, it's kind of like the most simplified version of touch or havening, and that is to hug. So whether you're giving yourself a self hug like havening can be, or you can go to a practitioner for that, just go and hug somebody. It's amazing what that can do. The way that that changes our nervous system and our brain chemistry, right? Assuming we like the person now. It's incredible. It releases neurochemicals, neurotransmitters in our brain like oxytocin, which is bonding, and dopamine, which feels really good, the reward neurotransmitter, and serotonin, right, which is, everybody knows that as a feel good neurotransmitter. A lot of these things, we take medication in order to up that process in our brains and in our bodies, and we can do it with some hug. Now, I'm not saying it's exactly the same thing, but if we can do some of that, just a little bit even, and make ourselves a bit better with a hug, why wouldn't we be doing that, right? So those are 5 more tips. So in total now you've got 10 tips to apply. And again, I'll be doing some posting with all of these different things that you can apply for yourself for calming down the nervous system, especially for critical thinkers. And calming down the mind is another aspect of that. And of course, there's going to be lots of information I'm putting out about brain types and understanding your brain and calming down the mind, skill sets that you need to know, skills and tools that anybody can learn. But that critical thinkers benefit from the very most because they need it the most. They think so deeply and they question so many things, and having them can make all the difference in the world. In the meantime, use the hacks that I've been giving you already to calm down the nervous system and use your brain to trick your body. I'm Dr. Blythe Cleverly. Thank you for watching.